Hear that, Rich?
Can you hear me?
People are missing your presence here.
Listen, I'm disappointed I'm not there. I was going to try to pull off a 17-minute run from Albany, but I thought that was ill-advised.
You've done that before.
I was sensitive to making you guys wait. I've done that too many times.
All right, we have a quorum, and we'll be starting with the audit committee, which is Mr. DiCaprio, Ms. Diat, and Mr. Martin. We have Tom here from EFPR. Tom,
Hi, David.
ready to run us through draft financials? Tony Lahosky, also our finance director. I don't know if anyone's met her person. Have you guys met person yet? Terrific, great addition to the team.
How are you? Thank you.
So we're happy to have her in the corner over there for you guys online. But Tom, take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. My name is Tom Smith. I'm the partner with EFPR Group that oversaw the audit for the 2021 fiscal year. And at this point, we are ready to issue the financial statements. And really, the most important thing is that the auditor's opinion is going to have an unmodified report, meaning that all the amounts in the financial statements have proper backup and everything, not only in the numbers, but in the footnotes could be backed up properly. Part of what we do report on, now that we issue the report on the financial statements, we issue a report towards the back that touches on the internal controls of the entity. And if we came across any type of non-compliance with laws, regulations, grant agreements, or any type of material weaknesses in your internal controls, we would have to report those in that report. But we are glad to say that we did not come across any of those issues. So that report will also have a clean, unmodified opinion. Just to run you through some of the financial highlights for the year. On page 4 is your statement of financial position, which really is your balance sheet. And as you can see, there isn't a lot going on other than a couple items. Your cash balance did decrease from the prior year by approximately 100,000, which is really going to tie to your change in net assets, which I will get to on the next page in a couple of minutes. But the other large change I want to highlight is the deferred revenue. And that decreased by approximately 150,000. And that's going to tie into your grant revenues. Really what that is you receive your grant money from New York State ahead of time. And as you spend that money down, that deferred revenue decreases and that goes into a revenue. So on the next page is your statement of activities with the comparison to prior year. And this really is your income statement for the year. All your revenue is in government grants, most of it being the New York State grants. That did decrease from the prior year as that funding is starting to dry up a little bit. And your total expenses were 984,000, very comparable to the prior year. So overall, you did have a decrease in your net assets of $126,000. On the following page, we have the statement of cash flows, which really summarize all the activities from the prior 2 pages. On here, you can see that your cash balance did decrease by 127,000. It's really just a component of all the other changes in your balance sheet, as well as it's mainly driven from that decrease in net assets from your expenditures exceeding your revenues. The following pages are the footnotes of the financial statements. And the first 3 pages are really a roll forward from the prior years. Those accounting policies really don't change unless something significant happens. But there weren't any new policies in the current year. Starting at the bottom of page 9 and really extending into page 10, the grants we like to put into chart form just to make it a lot easier on the users to understand exactly what is going on with those grants. So I really want to highlight the 2021 chart in the middle of page 10. The community grant right there in the middle, that's the main operating grant of the entity. And you can see that you did have 254,000 of deferred revenue coming into the year. You received $456,000 in cash during the year, and you recognized 608,000 into revenue from that grant. And that ties to the amount of expenses you had during the year. So that leaves you with $100,000 of deferred revenue that will be recognized in 2022 as you expend the remaining portion of that grant. And on the following page, page 11, shows the total award of $2.5 million. You've spent 2.4 million, leaving you with that 100,000 deferred at 12/31/21. And that is essentially the end of the financial statements. There is one more note, commitments and contingencies, which is the same as last year. Just saying that the corporation is subject to audits. You could always have disallowable costs, but we did not come across anything that we consider to be disallowable at this time. So at this point, I want to turn over to the audit committee and see if they have any questions on the financial statements or the audit in general.
I do not. See a clean audit, so.
Does that mean like when they sell
No, the first orchard, 2 homes that we have. To that, we'd only spent $3,000. So it was just.
A little trouble hearing you guys.
Oh, I was just saying that the remaining deferred revenue is related to the ongoing habitat project. So we received that grant funding, but we have not provided habitat. Right? Yeah. Do you hear us better now, Rich?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
So the audit committee make the recommendation.
The audit.
I need a second from Kristen. Close out the audit, please. Second. The audit committee has been closed.
I just want to thank David and Tanya for being so helpful throughout the audit. We were able to get everything we needed in a very timely fashion. Our next step is we did send a management representation letter. As soon as that's signed and returned, now we have approval of the audit committee of the financial statements. We will issue the final dated reports tomorrow.
I have a draft, Tom. I'll get it to you either tonight or tomorrow morning, which is
Okay,
great.
thank you very much.
I want to say thank you on behalf of the land bank, the Capital Region Land Bank, for conducting the audit and running an efficient assessment of where we stand. We really appreciate the skills and your firms keeping us in compliance. And I'm very happy to hear that, it sounds to me like, not sounds to me, but it's proven to me that we're doing exactly what we're supposed to do, which is take all of our grant money and extend it and put it to work. So you've reinforced that, and we appreciate your work.
Yeah, thank you, Rich. I appreciate you saying that.
Thank you.
EFPR will also help us with our 990 filings and CHAR 5000, I think it is, New York State. So we'll get those done before they're due in the next few months. All right.
Excellent.
Thank you for having me, everybody.
Tom.
Thanks, you're all set.
Have a good night.
Okay, thank you, Audit Committee. Appreciate your extra efforts there. David, I think we have everyone here, right?
We do.
All right, very good. Kathy, always great to see you. I'm going to call to order the March 29th, 2022 Capital Region Land Bank Board of Directors meeting. We had minutes go out the last time we met, December 14th. I've missed everyone. And it's been a great first quarter, but did we get a chance to review, and can I get an approval of those minutes?
So
So moved in a second.
I second.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. DiCaprio, always great to hear you. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nay.
Aye.
Aye.
The minutes are moved into the record. Thank you. Joe? Treasurer's report, sir.
Looking to make certain. On the balance sheet, since I was not at the meeting since then, I checked both the December and February sheets and have no problems.
Move the speaker a little, maybe the mic a little closer to Joe, please.
Let me figure that out. Hold on one second.
You're crystal clear right there.
She's talking right into the computer.
You hear us better now?
Certainly you.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes,
Okay, because I'm talking into the computer too. I said,
thank you.
looking onto the balance sheet, since we haven't had a meeting, I checked both the December 31st, 2021 figures and the February 28th, 2022 figures, and I have no problem with everything on there. Anybody has any questions?
So December and February meet your scrutiny, great.
Right. And you also received an additional sheet yesterday or today, I can't remember. Today. And the capital
Capital projects, yeah.
that I really have not had a chance to go over on that, so I don't know if anybody has any questions on that. Since we have the finance director here, if anybody has any questions, I'm going to defer to her on answering anything on those. And that's going to be a new report that David has added into mix what we take a look at.
Yeah, I like this report a lot, just to interject, run rates, where we are budget wise and how close we are, over under. And, obviously, there's been effort put forth in all 6 of these projects or whatever, 8 of these projects. But it looks like we're under budget on every one of them. So I don't know where we are in phasing, specifically where we are in phasing for each one, but, so far so good in terms of being under budget. Hopefully we're at the right effort and expended of or resources expended to equate to a 0 or finish under budget all the way.
Yeah, the point of this report is now that we're not reporting on specific grants, so we're not running the for January 2019. This is just ongoing projects now that we're spending down really our own resources. When you see what's available, you'll see what we've already committed, and then it just also provides you just a quick summary of kind of our ongoing projects. So if there's any specific questions about any of them, you can just use this one pager as a way to focus on that.
And to answer your comment, because it's a finance report, what you see is you don't see a completion percentage on here. Have questions on any of the projects, and that's a matter of request. It's not part of the financial report.
No, totally get that. Thanks for that clarification, Joe. I appreciate the fiduciary responsibility, the pivot to this fiduciary responsibility on behalf of the board and the constituency, the community, and the mission of the land bank. I would simply ask the executive director that when we're seeing these values, if we think we're gonna be over, to flag that or call that out if we, ahead of time. If we have that vision, we don't always have that vision, but I would just simply ask for awareness because it's not distinctly called out on this report. So thank you.
Does anybody have any other questions on the finance report? And obviously, it's as David had indicated, it's less sheets than what you've seen before. Just some drawdown on the finance. Hearing on the report.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Great, the treasurer's report is moved. Thank you, Joe. And again, thanks for the pivot to that new report, or that new one pager. So Chairman and Executive Director report, I'll be brief because we do have a lot of material to cover. tonight, and but I did want to just highlight just a couple of things that we're going to be covering tonight. Support for DePaul's initiative on Crane Street, another core corridor for us, critical mass, critical a mission critical project rather, where we believe that drives other developer and or other neighborhood momentum. So an important consideration for us, and a great project in terms of impact to the community. Cocoa House continues to move forward, as you saw on the report that we just presented, or that was just presented. That's an effort, again, that I believe has 5x, 10x, 20x the investment long-term in terms of what we're doing to impact community, constituency, and the neighborhoods and the individuals, right? Our mission has been blight and decay, and take down the worst of the worst and redevelop where we can. And this is about reaching into the community and developing people. And that's the most important thing that I think we do, if we don't do anything else, as we continue to drive value and expedite and execute rather, as a board. So I'm really happy about that project. And then finally, activity in Amsterdam. Amsterdam continues to find momentum, find development partners. DePaul certainly one of them, but they've got additional development partners. Maybe some folks have read the newspaper today. A lot of activity going on in Amsterdam, where there's the development community is finding value in investing in Amsterdam. And if we've done anything, we created that catalyst. And I'm very proud of what we've accomplished for our Amsterdam board members. Fantastic job. And hats off to leadership in Amsterdam for capturing and leveraging the catalyst that our efforts and others put forth. It looks like Amsterdam is going to have some great projects in the windshield in the near future. And that's really all I wanted to cover. I'll let David go over some of the details. Again, we have 7 items, some administrative stuff, so I didn't want to take a lot of time with window dressing, but continue to do great work. I continue to be surrounded by great board members, and I can't thank each and every one of you enough for your commitment and leadership on this board. So thank you.
Just one thing that I'll point out with the executive director report, as is our practice, the executive committee meets. We met on February 9th. The 1009 1011 Strong Street property, which you remember was where we started our original renovation project with training that moved over to the Prospect property, and we agreed to sell the property to the contractor. We first approved to sell it for $1, being that he had put significant work in. He agreed to basically sign a release against any action for payment or anything from us. We then wanted to make sure he was aware of some of the benefit programs, the Sunny Mae mortgage. So we agreed to grant to him for amount of money to recoup some of his costs. He chose not to move forward with the mortgage, him and his son, and asked to just revert back to money for $1. The executive committee met on February 9th to approve that, and we are moving forward. I'll just note that in the minutes, but that is done. Other than that, I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention upcoming appointments that we need here at the end of March and in April. Bob DiCaprio, Joe, and Kat. So we'll we can talk offline on that. You'll see in the annual report that those dates are coming up. So appreciate everyone's service and support.
Excellent. Thank you, David. Okay, 7 items on the agenda tonight for board consideration and action. The first is most important, or well, all the administrative stuff is critical. So our annual meeting, this is a resolution 2022-01, first meeting of the year, first resolution of the year, election of officers. David, can you summarize and or read it? Therefore, it is now resolved.
Yep, so the same slate of officers is my understanding this year as last year. Unless there are any requests for changes or anything, I'd say we move this forward. Resolution also lays out the committee memberships.
Any questions, changes? I'm happy to continue in the role, and I appreciate the ability to do that. So can I get a motion?
I had Patrick Attorney, then Bob Martin is the second.
Oh, thank you. I didn't hear it. Thank you. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nay.
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone. I look forward to serving as chair, and I appreciate everyone, Bob and Joe and Mr. Paterni, and everyone in the committee roles. Thank you very much for your continued leadership and commitment to this board. The second item that we have for consideration, Resolution 2022-02, which is our adopting of the 2021 audit. David, can you summarize?
As was presented to the audit committee, which they made the recommendation to the board to approve it.
Motion?
Second?
All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nay.
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. The motion is moved. Good audit. Another good year. Third item for review, consideration, our 2021 annual report and mission statement. That is resolution 2022-03, adoption of that annual report and mission statement. David?
Following the same form as previous years, the highlight 9.1 million is my running tally of outside funding that has been brought into the community. Overall, in partnership with the Amsterdam, Schenectady County, the city of Schenectady, over 200 structures have been removed, lighted structures, over 250 units of new housing. A lot of those in our with project partners such as DePaul, who we'll talk about today, Renaissance Square, Better Community Neighborhood. So terrific partnerships still ongoing. The work that we've done in coordination with the county, with the library, the city, with their improvements to Orchard Park and the corridor over in Mount Pleasant, to move forward with the proposal by DePaul. I think it was an excellent accomplishment in 2021. Really excited to see that application going to the state at the end of this month. Elmer Avenue will be also going in for low income tax credit at the end of the month as well. Additionally, when I talked about the language, but our involvement with the Thriving Neighborhood Challenge project, which is co-funded by the Schenectady Foundation and the city of Schenectady. We oversaw the construction of the new splash pad at Wallingford Park. The new some streetscape improvement along Crane Street, promoting the Engine Hill history has been ongoing with some decorative banners. Those have been terrific. And then we have our ongoing project over on Prospect Street. So in Amsterdam, I'm not sure we had approved funding to co-fund demolition with the city. They had really favorable numbers with their bid and ended up not using our funding. My understanding is they'll be back this next year to more blight removal. So that's good news as well. Any specific questions on the report or anything that would like to discuss?
David and I talked about that. One's on page 3 and one's on page 4. It's simply to make that look clear. And at the top of page 3 it says Schenectady projects work I would suggest we have Schenectady projects that land bank completed to make it clear that everything that we're talking about there is a land bank project. And the second one is on the page 4, says Peacock Properties continues to progress the construction. I would suggest that we remove to progress. This continues the construction. But for those of us, for those people who are not us, we understand what's on here. This is for somebody who's not sure what's going on.
David, I'm sorry, it was very splotchy coming through, and and so I don't want to have Joe repeat, but if board members are in agreement with Joe's.
The development project is under construction in Amsterdam. That's Amsterdam. Yes, no, I understand. You understand now why I've tried to make it clear. So those are the two amendments. Yes. And that they're not changing the substance, they're just trying to make it clear. And having done that, I will move the acceptance of the resolution.
Just a tremendous amount of work by the board and all the members and all of our partners, well highlighted in this annual report. Very proud of what we've accomplished, what we continue to accomplish, and what I know we're going to accomplish in the future. Dollars have been allocated to continue our mission, and this speaks to our capabilities, our ability to execute. David, a lot of this lies on your shoulders and moving the ball, and we're deeply indebted to your efforts, as well as that in Amsterdam from our partners in Amsterdam as well. So, do I have a second for the report, and can we accept it as or with the amendments as stated?
I second.
Thank you, Mr. DiCaprio. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nay.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion is accepted. Another great reconciliation of our efforts to date.
And before we go on, I would make a recommendation, because at the end of next year, next July, we'll be at the end of our 10th year. I would suggest we start a dog and pony show to be able to highlight the accomplishments that we've done over 10 years. We're looking at the accomplishments we've done over 9 years. Let's do a big 10-year push to try and make papers aware and by in context as to what it has done for the community, because I think most people don't understand what you've done.
Yeah, appreciate those comments, Joe. And certainly we want to shout out and cheer on our accomplishments, and they are numerous and impactful throughout our community, throughout our wider county of, and the city of Amsterdam. So I think you're right. I think that we should get a little bit of a tour going throughout maybe our city council and our legislative partners, and let them know exactly what we've accomplished. They're continuing to invest in us, right? Dollars did not come through foreclosure recapture, but now directly out of, and we all benefited from ARPA funding capacity, but they've come out of now our legislative bodies, and we anticipate that we'll continue to get those dollars. For those of you who don't know, I probably should have put it in my chairman's report, but I did stand next to Senators May, Hinchey, and Lieu in asking the state asking for placement of $200 million of Main Street and rural funding capacity when the budget is approved shortly, when the state budget is approved shortly. So it's important that our communities and our colleagues and our constituents know what we've accomplished here. This is no small feat, and we continue to improve our neighborhoods and drive investment, which is impactful, right? Both from a tax roll, a revenue collection, but more importantly, neighborhood cohesion and revitalization. So thanks for kind of, wanting to cheer it along, and I'll be right there with you. And I think you're right. We get some big poster boards, and let's go out and tell everybody what we've done. So thank you.
And we should also, with the association, because 10 years is not just going to be us, it's going to be all of the original groups. And if we all get together, we may make a bigger push. We may get
Yeah.
the bigger times to be able to talk about. They love to talk about how some of these initiatives are failed projects. Here's a successful project the state did, implemented by localities. And I think that's a major news story.
It's a great call, and I think you're exactly right, Joe. David, you and I can probably talk to Adam about, what the land bank advisory board and what our team at the state level is thinking about doing as we all do start to mature into that 10-year timeframe. So good call.
Well, that'll be the end of the 10 years, because we were started in the formal activity is July of 2012. Part of one, end of the year that we concerned. And I'm saying this now because I was looking. Saying, gee, we do something in July. Saying, no, wait a minute, that's not 10 years. Let's start working on 10 years. You don't want to wait. You don't want to wait at the whole thing. Let's do it right and make everybody aware. People say, what do you do? You sit on this board. Do you do anything? Point went off one step.
Absolutely.
Just with the New York State Land Bank Association, I participate on the monthly calls. They're looking at a June central in-person meeting. Of the members of their groups, they would like to attend. That's what I get. Bring it to them. Talk.
We'll go state, and we'll go local, Joe. I think it's a great idea, and I'm again very proud of what we've accomplished as a team, and look forward to continuing. So thank you. Item 4 is resolution 2022-04. It's reauthorization of our policies that we all have to. That the land bank has to stay in compliance with from Authority's Budget Office perspective. That's our fiscal, procurement, whistleblower, defense, investment, real property acquisition and disposition policy. These are policies that have been in place and in force almost from day one, I think, for the most part. Maybe some minor tweaks. But David, anything that we should highlight for the board tonight before we move?
Yeah, I just, last year's changes to our procurement policy really helped us be more efficient this past year. That was fantastic. No other needed changes that I can see, or any changes to the law that would require us to make changes. So the policies continue as they have previous years.
Any questions, comments?
Resolution.
Seeing none, a motion, a second?
For the second.
Got a second? Thank you so much. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nay.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion is moved. Okay, a little bit of meat and potatoes now. So we have our Amsterdam Legacies project. That is going to be resolution 2022-05. David, could you summarize? This is an amendment, I believe, to an existing agreement.
AIK Property Group, led by Pam Swanigan, here in Schenectady, continues to move forward her Legacy Cities initiative project. We had previously approved 10 different properties. She had originally 273 Division Street was on our agreement with the city of Amsterdam to look at as a potential candidate. Pam had shied away from this property because it was in a historic district. Then after some additional research and understanding the benefits of that, asked that we include that property and remove 16 Trinity Place. That actually pumps up the amount that she'll pay us if the project moves forward from 86,000 to 87,500. It's on it being a 2-unit rather than a single unit. Pam has worked extremely hard lining up the finance and community preservation corps. Obviously, the changes, the escalation in inflation and pricing that we see right now is very, very challenging to make the numbers work. There's still regular meetings with the state preservation corps on that, how to scale the project accordingly. And I know that the state is very much like this forward. There are some challenges. We're doing our part by making the property successful. The amount of funding that we receive from this is not of a concern to the state when it comes to what they're looking to invest in the program, and they see it as just allowing us to cost the cost. So, again, just popping out one property here, and if anybody has any questions about the project, let me know.
No, nothing too particular. I just, is it just a capacity thing, or a concentration thing in terms of mobilization? Or what's driving the one out, the movement? Any idea?
So it's just 273 Division Street was just a better property. So we're just amending the option for that one property. The overall project and program, it's a new state program. The financing process has been very, very difficult and taking a lot of time for the 2 projects that they have approved to date. So it's nothing that is, I think we always anticipated this a slow process, but she is taking all the appropriate steps to do her due diligence. And as I said, that it's more difficult than ever when you're talking about what's happening with cost of building supplies.
Yeah, good call. Well, it probably works in her favor, in AIK's favor, I should say, in the sense of a little more time, a little more due diligence, and potentially another success rather than something less than that. So that's great.
Particularly in
thanks.
Amsterdam, there's very few comparables when it comes to fully renovated properties that are specifically targeting homeowners. So this is, it's they're trying to make the numbers work, coming up with a real appraisal, a real value at the end of the day that these could sell for has been challenging. So there's a lot of thought going into it, and I'm to continue to move forward.
Excellent. Great. Thank you. Thank you for indulging my question. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Maybe an Amsterdam member to move or someone to move the motion? And a second? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nay.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Another good project. Hopefully it gets fully aloft. I know AIK is putting a lot of effort in, a lot of design engineering cycles going into the activity in terms of trying to make that project work. So it's good stuff. And they've got another resolution on our agenda tonight too, so we're happy to support them. But the next one in front of us is our Mosaic Apartments. That's DePaul Crane Street that I spoke of. Critical project. Lots of, I think, momentum will be built similar to what we've seen on Eastern with the St. Mary's project and the activities that that the corridor benefits from having this kind of investment made in it. So 2022-06 DePaul Properties. David, could you summarize?
Yeah, sure. So you have the site plan and the rendering and the board memo. Really very, very happy to see what a, a transformative change this would be to the streetscape on Crane Street. This was when we moved over to Mount Pleasant. It was just an idea. How do we start removing blight and then see what's available. DePaul's been a terrific partner in not only working with us to assemble these sites, but to go out there and make the investment in the old Mount Pleasant Diner and really working hand in hand with us to move a project forward that has tremendous local community support. The Mosaic name came from the leader of the neighborhood association. I think really well-intentioned and very supportive project. So with all these applications for low-income tax credit, a big point score is the local investment. And, we'll have two projects moving forward. The Elmer Avenue project, which transforms the former Elmer Avenue School, elementary school into senior apartments. And then this one, with both projects, the Elmer has Better Community Neighborhoods co-developing it. They were able to bring to the table some local funds. County is making an investment in there. We wanted to make sure that both projects showed kind of the equal local support because they're both tremendous projects. And I think the best way to do this is to have the land bank step up, make an investment in the property to help with the site demolition and other site activities. One thing that has changed since when I wrote this board memo to when I got the application in, again, talking about the cost of, the estimates and cost for construction, they had the number up to 24 million in investment in the property. That is due to just the general inflation of materials, but also as they did the technical work, they discovered the site conditions were poorer than it can be. So our investment here, is helpful not only from a scoring perspective, but because they really do need it for the support of the project. We'll know by early summer if this project is funded. This will be a first round application. The Renaissance Square was I think it received, but it definitely received the tax credits on the first round. I don't know if the Amsterdam project did, but no, I know that the state is always very impressed when they see our continued support for a project. They see why it's successful. So, does anybody have any questions on proposed investment project in general?
David, what was it going? It was a $20 million investment moving to 24. Is that what you said?
They had originally discussed the 15 million, and that was very early in the planning process. The two infill buildings right now they have a number of 24 million.
Okay. And HCR will come out with their findings or awards when? Probably the end of May, early June?
They're anticipating early June. Kristen had a question. So if you look at the site plan, so that building, the middle that we were referring to, that is not owned by, that is the Engine Hill Laundromat store. So that was a building that had undergone improvements to the Green Street. So local owners, they were able to, Metroplex assisted, come up with a deal to take back of their property and pull it and there's 940 and sell that back property, be incorporated into the parking area. Those owners will be provided the ability to access the parking. So all in all, it just kind of to street level. Yeah.
Yeah, great project. The right streetscape, right? Not too overimposing, 3-story, 4-story, in alignment with what's been there, what is there. full site development, with the courtyard and the PVC fencing. Just, this isn't just adding a building and not to diminish, what they want to have done at St. Mary's or at Elmer or Renaissance Square or any of that, but I mean, this is a full redevelopment of, an area that is worthy of investment. We've shown that with some of the other activities between the library and Orchard Park, the new playground. So a lot of activity going on here in a continuum to invest in our critical corridors. So I'm excited about this project. More work to be done, and I think this is just the next step. Hopefully, we're successful. I think it's important that we support the project with an investment to show our commitment to what our mission and what our vision is. Can I get a motion
Well,
and a second?
I'm also gonna do two amendments. One, change the 15 million to 24 million. That there's different,
Is that just in the memo or is that in the,
you've got 10 million in both memo and the resolution.
make that change?
Second one, this one, David and I talked about it, the second whereas clause. Strike in land bank in the second line.
I didn't hear the amendment, but is everybody okay with it?
What in the second whereas clause, on the second line, at the end, it says in land bank. We're just striking that because that's redundant. We've already said that's land bank money.
It was just a mistype by me.
Yep.
The
Yep.
change.
Nothing gets by Berlant, let me tell you something.
No, it's not a matter of that. It's a matter that different people look at things. And the proofreader, you're going to find something that somebody else hasn't done. That's the nature of the game.
I am praising the effort.
Suddenly somebody does all of these documents and hasn't made a mistake in it. Well, I'll toast with champagne because it's not going to happen.
We appreciate the.
Realize in Champagne, I wouldn't make mistakes.
We appreciate the attention to detail. Thank you. Okay, with those amendments, I think we have a motion. Well, we had a motion with those amendments. A second, please.
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nay.
Aye.
Here we come to Paul. All right. Make this happen. Okay, last item. Again, AIK on Barrett Street. We've talked about this project a few times. David, if you could give us a thorough understanding, I think that there's been flip-flops or different parcels. Let's bring the board up to speed here on what this resolution 2022-07 calls for.
Yeah, so we have talked about our properties here. We originally through private sale acquired 1107 Barrett Street. The city owned 1101 Barrett Street. We demolished those properties. I think it's 18, 20, and then across kitty corner, across the street, two city-owned properties. We completed demolition with EB funding last year. So we have two smaller size development sites, multiple parcels. AIK, who we just were talking about in Amsterdam, is also progressing this project concept. Their company has received funding to move the project along and develop it. Enterprise Community Partners, a grant to help aspiring MWBE developers. So that's been terrific. So in December, we did the resolution of support for the project and expressed our interest in selling 1101, 1107 Barrett Street. I went out to a little additional community work, the folks at the Livens Connect project, just to really understand their plans moving forward. It looks like our best option is to move forward with providing an option AIK for us for $9,051. That's more than the assessed value. that would allow her to move forward, again, working with Community Preservation Corp, the small build program to develop a for a small scale rental housing on both our site, and then she already has an option for Kid Corner for 1052, 1062 Barrett, that site as well. Pam has gone out and in both sites made investment purchase properties contiguous to them. So and both are buildings that are blighted for in need of refreshing. So
Okay, any questions?
Yeah.
On-
Kristen's asking a question, Rich. She asked about the demolition. After the demolition and funding was provided.
Okay, I just, the reason why I asked. You know. Reason.
David, could you just paraphrase for us or maybe get the mic a little closer?
Now,
Only a little bit.
I'm not sure what else to do.
There you go.
Okay.
I'll do a vote.
I was just asking because I had thought that the city also contributed to those demolitions and, you know, using CDBG funds, those sites would have a limited reach. They need to be for the benefit of low to moderate income, you know, individuals. So the AIK project is perfect for those sites. And we just completed the rezone to allow for, you know, a little bit more density there as well, in conjunction with other planning, you know, goals and initiatives. But I
Sure.
just wanted a clarification. Did you, you know, sure we did, but it just.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification and reading that into the record. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, all those in favor indicate, I'm sorry, motion, please.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
Thank you, Mr. DiCaprio. Thank you, Kathy. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nay.
aye.
All right. Motion carries. Here we come, Barrett Street. It's a good, it's a great corridor. I'm sorry, it's a great neighborhood. And I think it's going to benefit from not only this investment, but continued investment in and around that area and, you know, making it that much closer to downtown or downtown that much closer to it. All right. Any other business that we need to talk about?
The one thing that I'd bring up just under, I guess it's new business, 110 Prospect, as we're nearing the completion of the renovation, I decided that it's best the capacity that we have to list this with an agent. In the past, has not approved contracts with real estate agents. I think that's under the my authority. But I wanted to let you know I was in conversation with Monticello, licensed real estate broker. One of our old interns is now a licensed real estate agent there, and has showed a real understanding of some of the unique incentives for vacant properties. Estada Diallo, and I would like to just let the board know I was going to move forward with entering into a agreement with them to list the property so that we can get this sold to a new family. Between city funding that will be going into this project, there will be a requirement to go to a homeowner and a homeowner who is qualified. So that agent will help with that.
David, did you say that the licensed broker was affiliated with an intern that we have within Metroplex right now?
Actually was a former intern of the land bank when she was a student at Union College.
Okay,
So,
Gotcha. Not affiliated today, but connected by a previous relationship. That's fine. Okay. I don't see any issues there. Great. Good. Thanks for the heads up and the clarification. Any other new business or old business to discuss? All right. Well,
Meeting in Amsterdam. We haven't been there since the pandemic occurred.
I've been waiting for the warm weather. So,
It's nice to learn.
yeah,
can
right.
can we make the next one in Amsterdam, please?
Will certainly be the next one in Amsterdam.
Okay. And I'm happy to buy the first pizza at Lanzy's after that if we want. So,
Sounds like a plan to me.
yeah. Okay, great. So thank you, everyone. It's great to see everybody. I appreciate everyone's in person. I'm sorry I'm not there to be there in person, but look forward to seeing everyone at the next meeting. If there's nothing else to discuss, thank you again. We appreciate, I appreciate your support. I look forward to another year, and I look forward to our continued success. And with that, I will adjourn our meeting. Please feel free to call me if you have any questions. And David, did I need to call you after on First Reformed Church?
Yeah, give me a ring after we can discuss, or you can come in later this week. I have a check for you to sign. Please give me your board performance evaluations as well when you can.
Oh, right. Yes, please, folks, everyone, sorry. I've already adjourned, but there are board evaluation forms. Could you please fill those out as part of our compliance, annual compliance? Yeah, I'll
Thank you.
come in. I'll see you later on in the week, David.
Okay, very good.
David,
Thank you.
get my email on it.
I'll double check. If I haven't gotten it from you yet, I'll start emailing you guys.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Great to
Bye-bye.
see you, Kath.
Yeah, you too.
See you guys.
Bye.